Well, when I got there, they thought, at the time, I wasn't in a relationship with Taylor Shaw, but we were seeing each other, and when I arrived, they actually thought that I was with her. So they asked me where was she at, and I didn't know, and they were waiting on a ride from her.
So did Taylor show up?
Yes,
And were the same people still in 1506 Iowa?
yes.
And what did you do?
I rode with them to go to get weed.
Was there any discussion about any robbery?
No,
Or a lick?
no,
Or a stain?
no,
Or any other term that might be used for robbery?
no.
What was the only discussion that you were aware of?
We about to go buy some weed.
And when you got in the car, where did you get in?
In the back seat.
And how did you hear of him?
Just a common name in Dubuque. I guess he sells drugs around town. I don't know.
He wasn't your supplier?
No,
Did you ever hang out with him?
no.
So you went to McDonald's, and what happened at McDonald's?
We sat, ate, and Takari or Eric, I'm not sure who, I don't recall, called Savannah to come and direct them to where the place was. We parked the car.
And where did you park the car?
A couple trailers down.
Is that unusual?
No.
Why would you park a few cars down?
I wasn't sure at the time, but for that particular one, but sometimes drug dealers say don't park in front of their house. It makes it hot.
What do you mean?
Normally. I mean, it's not unusual for people to wear dark clothes. I wear them a lot.
So there wasn't anything about the way anybody was dressed that caused you any concern at that point?
No.
Did you go to the door trailer?
What do you mean?
At that time, did he also pull out a gun?
Yes.
Did you see the gun?
Once he was approaching me and Alicia, yes.
Okay, so you did. So you knew he had a gun, but you didn't see the gun quite yet.
Yes.
How about Takari?
I didn't know Menifee had a gun until I heard the gunshots, and he wasn't in the car when I entered and told her to leave.
So Eric kicked the door in. What happened next?
It was it wasn't a lot of space in the trailer, so it was like by the time they kicked the door in, everybody was like right there, and she was right there. I just rushed to her side and tried to like keep her calm, tell her like everything's gonna be okay, get her kids or whatever. And
what was your reaction when the door was kicked in?
I was shocked. I didn't know what was going on.
Is that the first semblance of any robbery that you would have noticed?
Yes.
And why is it that you went over to Alicia?
I've known her previously. I know her first kid's dad, and I was just trying to keep her calm and keep her safe, protected.
And what were Takari and Eric doing?
At the time, they were beating up Kyle.
Did you have a gun?
No.
Were you holding Alicia down in any way?
I don't really recall. I don't think I was holding her down, but out of the window, no.
So what did the three of you do at that point?
I was going back to the car.
Did you see where Takari had gone?
No, I couldn't see the car.
Did you see where Eric had gone?
No.
What's the next thing that you remember happening?
I kind of seen Colin coming from behind the trailer, and I couldn't tell if it was Menifee or Eric, but somebody following him. I heard 2 gunshots, and then that's when I kind of took off a little bit faster than I was already going.
And where were you when that gunshot was fired?
I was in the street going to the car.
So in the video, you've seen the video, is that correct?
Yes.
Were you the person that was in front of the car?
Yes.
And you were apparently a dark figure, is that correct?
Yes.
And including your shoes?
Yes.
What kind of shoes did you have on?
I have a variety of shoes. I'm not actually sure which pair I was wearing that night. Maybe some black Nikes or something. I got a lot of Nikes. I told Taylor to go.
And did you know at that time whether Takari was in the car?
No.
Did you care?
No.
Did you know if he had been the one that had fired the shot?
Well, he wasn't in the car.
And was Eric in the car?
Yes.
So is the reason why the car was pulling forward because of what you told Taylor shot?
Yes. She stopped, he got in the car, and we went to drop them back off at 1506 I.
As you drove, were you aware of anybody throwing anything out of the car?
No.
Were you paying attention to that?
No.
What were you feeling as you were driving along?
Confused, shocked, like, I didn't know why it happened, I didn't know what was going on.
Was there any discussion on the way back as to what had happened?
No.
Was there anybody threatening anybody to keep their mouth shut or anything like that?
No.
Did you drive straight to 1506?
Yes.
What happened in 1506?
Well, I didn't go right in.
So,
Because 3 of you walked out of the house wearing dark clothes, correct?
I was wearing dark clothes all day.
So was Mr. Campbell wearing dark clothes when he walked out of the house, correct?
Correct.
And so was Mr. Menifee, correct?
Correct.
So why did you have to go along if you were just buying drugs? Why didn't you just hang out at 1506 and wait till they come back?
Well, they was leaving with the girl I was intimate at the time, so I rode with them.
Because you were worried about that.
Worried about what?
Them being alone with Taylor Shaw, right?
It's not that I was worried about it. What do you mean?
Because you weren't in a relationship. You weren't even defining it as boyfriend and girlfriend when you were interviewed. The best you said is you're just having sex, right?
Yeah, I just had met her not
Right.
previously from that.
And in fact, you were the one that called her to come pick you up, right?
No, I wasn't.
Well, then you didn't need to go then, right?
No, I didn't have to go.
But you did, didn't you?
Yes, I did.
And so the 3 of you go with Taylor Shaw out to the trailer park, right?
Yes.
Takari Menifee had a phone that worked, right?
Yes.
And the door was kicked in, correct?
The door was kicked in.
Because you heard Alicia describe the testimony. 3 guys piled in, faces covered, hoods on, right?
I heard her testimony, yes.
So you knew at that point, when you're going in, a door being kicked in, guns drawn, faces covered, probably not buying drugs, are you?
My face wasn't covered.
Sure, you had Alicia see you, and you know Alicia, so she'd be easy to identify you, right?
Correct.
And Alicia, you heard her testimony. She didn't know the 3 men because their faces were covered. You heard that, right?
That's what she said.
Right. And you were trying to protect her, and you were protecting her by sticking a gun to the back of her head and telling her to stay down, right?
I didn't have a gun.
And that's how you were protecting her. And so after you stuck that gun to her head,
objection, Your Honor. It was argumentative again.
Sustained. Ask another question.
Mr. Hall, when you stuck that gun to the back of Ms. Lombardi's head, you were the one standing next to her.
Objection,
I
Your
didn't
Honor.
stick a
He is
gun
not-
to the back of her
Hold-
head.
hold. Objection. He's misstating what Mr. Hall just said. He said he did not have a gun.
Go ahead, just ask it again.
Sure. Mr. Hall, you were the person standing next to Ms. Lombardi, right?
Correct.
And there's 3 people that piled into that trailer. There was 3 different sizes. You were the shortest of the 3, correct?
Correct.
The medium-sized person would be Mr. Campbell, correct?
Correct.
And the tallest would be Dakari Menifee, correct?
Correct.
And as you're standing over by Alicia Lombardi, that's when Dakari and Eric Campbell are beating up Colin Brown, right?
Right.
Because they demanded dope as soon as they got into that trailer, correct?
I didn't hear it as soon as they got in the trailer. No.
3 being you, Dakari Menifee, and Eric Campbell left the trailer, right?
Correct.
You didn't stay in the trailer and say to Alicia, I'll be here, I'll protect you. You had your phone. You didn't do that, did you?
No, I did not.
You left with Dakari Menifee and Eric Campbell, right?
I left to get away from there, to get out of there.
Exactly right. You left to get down to the car, correct?
Correct.
And before you got in the car, Mr. Campbell was already in the car, right?
To my knowledge then, no, I didn't know that.
To your knowledge now he was, right?
Correct.
And then you also, before you got in the car, you looked over and you saw Colin Brown trying to get into Mr. Gossey's trailer, right?
Yeah, I was going to the car.
You saw him though, right?
Yes.
Because Mr. Brown was a guy that people were trying to take money and drugs from, right?
What do you mean? Can you say it again?
Mr. Brown, Colin Brown,
Right.
was the person that people were trying to take money and drugs from, right?
I guess you could say that. When the door was kicked in, I tried to prevent the situation.
And you prevented that, your claim is staying over by Alicia Lombardi.
Yes.
And then when you guys leave, you go back and you go into 1506, correct?
No, as God did not.
Okay, you
I
never,
stayed into the car and
Did
I
you-
went in for maybe half a minute.
did you go into 1506?
For maybe half a minute, yes.
And you did go in?